Hey, Andrew.
Hey, Justin.
So, I think the OHL also likes taunting London. At least the Instagram admin.
I think that they like to elicit reactions.
Mm-hmm. And I appreciate that about them. Yeah. I don't want to throw anyone under the bus. I don't want anyone to get in trouble. I like their style.
I think that they were taunting you.
Oh, they were getting me to repost for sure.
Yes. They have collabed with us.
They have.
So they know about us. And as much of an endorsement as you can get. That's what that is going to be.
Acknowledging that we exist is validating enough for us.
Yes.
Really?
Yes. And now they have put us, not the Odd Pod, but the Kitchener Rangers first in the power rankings now for 2 solid weeks.
And London is now in third because they've moved Brantford up a spot.
That's that Zach Hyman money.
Yeah. Rich parents, man.
You can't escape the Zach Hyman money.
You know, when I went off on my tirade about Brantford moving up the power rankings, it was a little concerning. But now Brantford has earned their top spot. Their second top spot.
Yeah. Top spot of the Eastern.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Good for them. I hope they're in the West next year.
I hope so, too. I hope there are new first rivals, because apparently we're not first rivals with anyone.
I know.
When I say first rivals, I just mean that like largest rival,
like Edmonton and Calgary.
Right.
We don't have the other one.
Exactly. Whereas yes, the Battle of Highway 7 with Guelph, but I thought it was London.
Yeah, I thought so too.
And London now comes out and says that it's Windsor.
Yeah.
Take us to the dance.
Anyways, I love the community of the OHL because it's all nitpicky and lovely, and I love it all.
Well, that's okay. So I have followed very closely the CFL for many years, and
for our American listeners, that's the Canadian Football League.
Canadian Football League, and that's what I've always liked about that is because it's smaller, it's very accessible, and you can easily break into that community and you can interact with players online and that sort of thing. And so the OHL kind of has that same appeal. And even the OHL account you can interact with.
And the Let's Talk OHL, they're like great like that too. Like,
yes. I saw you taunting them today. Let's Talk London.
Yeah. Yeah. They're the only ones that have a Let's Talk. I think Sarnia has one too.
Yeah, Let's Talk has an offshoot in London. And you were giving them the business today.
I'm enjoying it.
You were taking a play out of my playbook.
Follow us on Instagram because that's where we goat on London.
That is, basically exclusively.
Exclusively. It's where we're best at it.
That is true. Yeah.
Welcome to the Odd Pod, where we're talking Kitchener Rangers hockey with the oddballs themselves, Andrew and Justin. Take it away, fellas.
All right. So we only played 2 games this weekend. Friday, Saturday, back-to-back.
We did.
The double Schaub squad.
That's true. Yeah. Yes. I know that you texted me. I saw you were frantically texting me about Jackson Parsons.
One of our followers, Nick, was messaging me.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're right. He is not dressed. Like they had Owen Edwards in as backup.
Yes. I took the plunge a couple months ago and bought a Waterloo Record subscription.
Oh, look at you supporting local media.
Local journalism.
Journalism. Yes. Real journalism. Not to be confused with whatever it is that we do.
I've called it before. 2 idiots talking in a room.
Burnt grass journalism.
This is what happens when you can't excuse yourself to get out to the pub.
Yeah.
Once a week.
Somehow that's unacceptable, but this is acceptable.
Somehow, as long as we record it and post it to the internet, it is now acceptable that we take time out of our week to just sit in a room and talk about hockey. Yeah.
Cool.
Of course. But anyway, I read a Josh Brown article, which almost exclusively now what I'm reading is OHL coverage, the Waterloo Record.
Perfect.
Yeah. And basically it was just that Parsons was just resting because realistically they're not going to catch London.
Yeah.
Because they've got games in hand on the Rangers and it just doesn't really make sense to risk anything at this point. And
you don't necessarily want to rest your goalie immediately before playoffs.
Exactly.
You want him to be playing. I think this is a really smart. Sometimes it shocks me how progressive in the lines of thinking the Rangers are. Like,
Yeah.
they are new school all the way through, even though it feels like an old school organization.
It is an old school
Well,
organization,
100%.
right? Like even right down to like basically the original 6 farm team jerseys.
Yeah,
You know
exactly.
what I mean? Like that's what they are. They are old school.
Yeah.
But when you're a publicly owned team, I think you have to be new school and try and get every advantage with forward thinking and analytics and what do the statistics say and what do we do? And this the thing is, I was looking at it, having a European head coach, that was unheard of in the
Totally.
OHL. He's the first one. There's only been 2 ever in the NHL.
European coaches?
Non-North American head coaches.
That's crazy.
Isn't that bonkers?
Yeah, so he is totally like breaking molds.
He's like on the track too. Like he's definitely on track to coach in the NHL.
Yeah.
Which is nuts. If he stays here, which I think would be very smart, stay here and continue to develop this program
At
as
least
much as
through
possible.
2027.
And then there's going to be an opportunity. I'm not saying he's going to jump straight to a head coach. I'm just saying that
No.
you could imagine that there's going to be an opportunity somewhere.
I would hope so.
So we could be looking at something a lot bigger than just junior hockey. We could be witnessing something a lot bigger than just hockey in general, and that we're watching like a kind of a pioneer come in and do something, because he was a very successful coach. I know we're getting on a little bit of a tangent here, but he was just, if you Google UC Ahokas, the juice,
Don't Google the juice.
don't Google the juice. That is what you'll get. But safe search on. But UC Ahokas, if you Google him, 1, you'll see his glorious hair, and 2, you will realize his coaching achievements in Europe were second to none.
And he's a young guy, too. But then also Mike McKenzie is pretty forward-thinking, too.
Yeah,
And
totally.
I didn't really know who Mike McKenzie was coming into the season. And then you blew my mind in telling me that his dad's Bob McKenzie. And I was like, wait, what?
And then I sent you side-by-side photos
Yeah,
of them.
and then it's, they cloned Bob McKenzie at 30, and
Yeah.
then now he's Mike McKenzie.
And now he's Mike McKenzie. Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And then I went back to, he's like an old school GM, but he's definitely not like that at all.
He totally bucked the system.
Yeah.
He didn't do any trades. Like
No.
he did trades earlier in the year. But
Well,
the
and he did
deadline
them last year, and
Yeah.
but he's using whatever is the best possible scenario for himself at this moment.
Yeah,
Like,
and to have a guy like Jack Prudhomme playing in the BCHL, have the wherewithal to draft him and be like, if the NCAA agreement comes in,
it's been talked about for years.
then
It wasn't new.
No, then we're going to have this guy come in and dominate.
Yeah.
And then the same thing with Christian Humphreys.
Yeah.
That was just like, I don't know how that all fell into place. And Hayden Ellis. Like all these guys, he just made acquisitions without subtractions.
Yeah.
So he might be like old school hockey, like the name,
Sure.
but he is definitely new school thinking.
Yeah, and that's what we want.
Yeah.
And yeah, good for him for taking advantage. Also, other teams didn't take advantage. This quote-unquote loophole, which it isn't, this NCAA agreement, isn't a loophole, but it's not going to work the same in the future, because now in the future it's going to be like you're going to now draft differently.
Yes.
Like
totally.
This is a magical year where this was just a thing that happened.
Yes.
And we were one of the only teams that took advantage of it.
It's true.
And
yes.
it's awesome.
This was definitely like a loophole year because it's just different.
Yeah.
Because the rules changed mid-season.
For sure.
Which is weird to even think about.
Yeah, you'd think they would do it in the offseason.
Future year.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, like right before the draft. Oh, here's the signing.
Yeah.
Everybody knows. Everyone has the same playing
No,
field.
they were like, no.
No. Get her done.
And then some players in the BCHL were just like, okay, see ya.
Yeah.
I have to go play it.
We'll go play for a good team.
I have to go play somewhere where there's exposure.
Yeah. Okay. So the first game that we played this week was Friday night at home at the Odd against the Sarnia Sting. We won 4-3 in overtime.
We certainly did.
This was an interesting game. We were worried about this game going in. That it was like, we got to come out hot. We did not. It was it was a slow start.
It really was. When they got that late first period goal to tie it up, I felt like, okay.
Yeah,
okay,
the energy was coming back.
Yeah, and then they came out and basically Sarnia took a 2-goal lead halfway through the second.
Yeah.
So it was a weird game.
It was a weird game. Yeah, I would say like the first goal Sarnia really earned. It was like a heavy screen shot against Schaubel. Obviously then, Romano. Okay, Jason does the play-by-play. Jason has started calling that like top corner call. It's like where Papa hides the Cheetos. He called it 3 times this weekend, and I was like, I love this.
Yeah.
I love this so much. Romano got the Cheetos. That was the first goal that Kitchener got from a beautiful feed by Ellis. And then, the second period, it was like another good goal by Sarnia and then a bit of a softie against Schaubel. And that was like...
third goal was soft.
Ooh,
it was
okay.
a kind of... There's no such thing as a nothing shot in Major Junior, but it was a shot that Jason Schaubel would have liked to have back.
For sure.
Because it just went through him.
Yep.
And it was from the perimeter, which those are the ones you never want to give up unless you're screened. Or it's a deflection.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a great goal against, but he played well enough to get the win.
But then he was lights out, which was really my main point, is
Also,
that it was a soft goal. We've seen him do this before, where it's like maybe there's a goal that he would want back, and then he is lights out after that goal. We've seen Schaubel do that a few times.
Very true.
Yeah.
And also, he is 16.
He's still 16. Yeah.
Yeah, he's 16. Like,
for sure.
When you think about that, look, the way he has played, he's 8-2-1. I don't know how they do that. Anyway, he has 8 wins in 13 games or something like that, or in 10 games or 11 games or whatever. Yeah, like he's won 80% of his games. Like it's been really good for a 16-year-old.
And when we talk about Schaubel, we talk about him as a goalie. We don't talk about him as a rookie goalie.
No, sometimes I remind myself that he's 16. That's for me.
Totally. Yeah.
Yes, he's 8-2-1-2. Because we do this really weird thing and we split up overtime and shootout losses.
Yep.
I guess it's just for posterity.
For statting wise,
yeah,
or whatever,
like for scouting even, like you can look and see, he lost 2 in a shootout, so we're gonna just negate those.
And not to jump ahead into the next game too much, but when he did lose to Owen Sound, but he did lose in the shootout, and he was pretty lights out in the overtime. So
yeah, he was. They could have lost that in regulation and overtime.
Yeah, and he kept them in it.
Yes,
so
he did.
For sure. Yeah, all of that to say, I love this like little thing with Schaubel where you can see it in his face a little bit, and he's, I will destroy them, and then he just blast shields
I think
down.
At 16, you get rattled a bit, and then the blast shield comes down. I think the idea is as you get more experience, the blast shield starts.
Yeah, you
during the anthem.
Yeah,
the blast shield comes down.
Jackson Barsons hasn't lifted the blast shields all season.
No, it's true. They're giving him a break. They're repairing the blast shields right now.
They're a little dented at this point.
Exactly. He's faced a lot of rubber.
Yeah, and then Humphreys got another Cheetos at the end of this game.
Yes, he did.
To tie it up and force overtime. Yeah. Pridham also got a goal.
Pridham scored, yeah. Cameron Reid had an absolutely unbelievable goal where he walked through 2 guys, deked through. The puck went in behind the net.
Yes.
And Cameron Mercer retrieved it. And Cameron Reid had already circled around and was out in the high slot and just received a nice little pass.
It was almost a lemonade goal. He did have a defender on him, but he had opened himself up a bit.
But what's crazy is when Cameron Reid starts moving his feet, it needs to be like an elite defender to stay on.
I know.
Otherwise, you are just literally praying and hoping and wishing to stay with him. Because I firmly stand by that Allen Iverson comparison that I posted to the gram a few weeks back, where he crossed that guy over at the blue line, and it's like a point guard crossing a guy over.
Right.
It's the same thing here. Like he drove to the lane, circled back out to wait for that open pass, and then just sunk it.
Oh, sorry. Humphreys got the OT winner. That was the one he got.
He set up it was a Humphreys Swick Pridham goal.
Yes.
That tied it up.
Yeah. A great pass from Humphreys to Pridham for that. It was a chaotic sequence of events. When it's chaotic, that's when Pridham shines.
I could feel that one coming.
Yeah.
I knew Pridham was going to pot one. Yeah, it's like a weird, like something shifts, and I'll just say he has shifts where you're like, Jack's putting one in the net now.
Yeah.
You know, or he'll get robbed on something, or he'll hit the post. It's just like a little moment that happens where Pridham takes over.
Yeah.
And it's that line, too. Humphreys, Swick, and Pridham. I'm glad that they're back together because there was a little moment there where they're just all over the place, but they are just, it seems like that's going to be the line. That's going to be the line.
Yeah. Bummer in this game. 3 power plays, no power play goals.
It's true.
This was a struggling power play weekend overall. But yeah, we crazy outshot them 37-25. Not as crazy as we can outshoot a team.
Yeah, which we saw in the immediate next game.
So the very next day, we were in Owen Sound for the glorious Bayshore bounce.
And the extreme contrast issues on the wide angle camera shot.
Yeah, it's very
Why
low.
is it high
It's so close.
But it's high contrast.
I know.
I'm like, why? Because when they cut into the second angle that's closer, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what's going on? Sorry, I know that's not exciting pod talk, but it is. I'm like, what am I looking at here? Are they wearing black?
Start a GoFundMe for a new camera for Owen.
I think it's
Sound.
just settings that they have to fool around with, because it's like, it's the other camera. That one looks great.
The one that follows the players around.
Yes,
Looks really good.
Exactly.
Okay, so this was a 3-2 shootout loss, which not ideal. But that doesn't really explain this story because, yes, we did get 2 goals.
But what were the shots, Justin?
Yeah, we scored 2 goals in our first 23 shots. And then how many shots did we get after that? We got 29
shots after
29 shots after
a
that.
total of 52.
Yes, and we didn't get a single goal on those other 29 shots, which were good shots. There were not all of them, but a lot of them were.
I'd say the vast majority of them were scoring opportunities.
Yes. We're way ahead here, but during our 3 stars of the week this week, I'm honorary mention to Carter George.
Yeah, well,
on the 3-star list.
He won the game.
He won the game for Owens. He was unbelievable. Hats off to Carter George.
Anytime your goalie stops 50 of 52,
yeah,
you better win.
Yeah, you better win.
Although I did have a moment where I thought that the Rangers were going to pull it off in overtime. And then when it went to the shootout, listen, I'm very proud of 16-year-old Jason Schaubel, but I was like, no. This isn't going to go. No. This isn't going to go the Rangers' way today. No.
It was not a pretty shootout, but
no.
So in the game, some interesting things that I noted, we let a few more breakaways than we typically let go against.
But I shorthanded goal too.
Yeah, there was a shorthanded goal there, but the breakaways, I thought our defensive core dealt with those very well. So
yes.
There were 3 breakaways in the first period. 2 of them neutralized by the defensive core, no penalty, which is like amazing.
Hard to do, very hard to do.
For sure. And then the third breakaway, Campbell did get a penalty on it.
Yeah.
But I thought that it wasn't a dirty play. He wasn't trying to do anything.
No. Sometimes you got to take a penalty.
And I think he took the penalty because he knew he needed to because of the way that the play was progressing. And
they're a better team than Owen Sound despite the loss. So you want your penalty kill to be able to stop Owen Sound's power play.
Yeah, you'd think so. To me, there was some really good defensive work in this game against Owen Sound that I think needs to be highlighted, and not just from our defensemen. Our defensemen were playing great, but our players in general were playing like exceptionally well defensively in this game. Yeah, the score does not reflect this game in any way, shape, or form.
No, it was weird, and it wasn't late, but it was midway through the third. They got that tying goal.
Yeah,
Owen Sound hung around.
Yep.
Enough to do that.
Carter George hung around.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, it was one of those where you tip your cap because he stood on his head, and then he stood it on his head in the shootout.
Yeah.
And it was a bit deflating when was it Misljevic who shot first in the shootout, or was it Pridham?
Misljevic did the second shot.
No, it wasn't. It was Trent Swick and Tanner Lamb.
Oh, why didn't we put Misljevic out? Oh, because Trent Swick was 5 out of 6 shootouts.
Yes. It was
Trent Swick
he hit the post.
And he hit the post.
That's what it was. That's what it was. Trent
Carter
Swick.
George.
It was Trent Swick.
Yeah.
He hit the post. That was the chance. So you would have tied the shootout.
Yeah.
As soon as it was 1-0 for Owen Sound in the shootout, I felt like Carter George isn't going to give up anymore.
No.
And he didn't.
No, he did not. A couple forward plays of notes. Evan Hedrick scored.
He did.
But it looked unbelievable in this game. He was great. He had so much confidence.
Talk about these 16.
He threw a reverse hit.
These 16-year-olds. Yeah. What's crazy about Evan Hedrick is that he's a physical presence.
Yes.
And
I think he's my size.
I think you've got a fair bit of size on Evan.
Yeah.
He's listed at 5'7", 150.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That is probably a little generous.
Yeah, and he could take me down on skates for sure. In real life,
we've
probably
seen
too.
you. Yeah, I was gonna say on skates. That's not much of a. That's not.
Since I don't know how to skate.
Yeah, in real life, I'm taking Evan Hedrick. But yeah, Carson Campbell had a couple of assists, which was really nice to see. Ando had a great couple games.
Yeah,
He set up the overtime winner in the last game. He set up the second goal in this one that Humphreys scored. Ando had a great couple games.
Yeah.
He really did. He set up the overtime winner in the last game that we talked about, Sarnia, and he set up the second goal in this one. It just seems like he's jumping up into plays more. I never notice him getting caught like when he jumps up. He knows when to jump up, which I really appreciate. Yeah. So
he set up the Humphreys goal against Owen Sound, and I thought Humphreys, that was an unbelievable hand-eye coordination. He had his weight on the opposite foot. He wasn't falling, but he was definitely not fully centered, and he still managed to get his stick on that puck, and that was the sort of chaos that was needed to beat Carter George. I don't even understand how he got that puck in the net, but Humphreys, man, he's
a great player.
The silent killer out there.
I can't believe that he is a 7th-round draft pick, so he's obviously refined his game quite a bit.
Yes.
In this 1 year since being drafted, because he looks very capable.
Very capable.
I think if this was his draft year, he'd go much higher.
I think so too. Yep. And Schaubel looked great in this game. Like, he was very sturdy all the way through. He didn't get scored on until like late second, and
arguably he looked a little better in this game.
Yeah, I think so.
Than in the other game.
Yeah.
Not that he didn't look good, and it's just that there was really only one bad goal he gave up all weekend.
Yeah.
And it was in the other game.
Yeah. There was an incredible Landon Hookie chance in overtime that he's just shut down that I was like, yeah, man, we're good.
Yep.
We're good.
Yeah, I can't imagine how... Yeah, Jason Schaubel in 2 years.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Please be on our team.
Gonna be a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2027. Schaubel 2027.
Yep. All right. So what's your first star of the week, Andrew?
My first star of the week is once again a couple Camerons. Because this is my shtick now. We just have so many Camerons. It's different Camerons this time.
Okay.
Cameron Mercer was a legit face-off king. In the Sarnia Sting game, Cameron Mercer was 10 for 14 in the dot.
Yeah.
And he also set up the Cameron Reid goal.
Yes.
So I had that little duo because that happened. And just that Cameron Reid in general is having a crazy season.
Yes.
And he keeps getting better.
Yeah.
Every month of the season, Cameron Reid is getting better. I don't know if he took it upon himself, like he took it personally, that at the beginning of the season he was not really on anybody's radar. But he should be now, and it's still starting to feel like, I know, like, we're biased because we watch every one of his games. I don't know, man. Like, this looks like a top 10 guy to me.
I don't know what is more of a top 10 guy.
He's 17. You know what I mean? We're not looking at a guy. He's only had a couple years.
This is a guy, when he's in the NHL, that you want to grab in his contract years for fantasy. He bets on himself.
Yes. So I just had to package those guys together.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Your cams.
Yeah, my cams.
My first star is Humphreys. 2 goals and an assist. Like I just was talking about it. Hand-eye coordination on that Ando tip was just insane. He was like very quietly one of the best players on the team this weekend. He always seems like a very understated guy. Like, he's on this team with 2 monster dudes who we're always talking about. But he is driving that ship. Like, he is always making those plays. He's great.
He is. And that feeds into my second star.
Yeah.
He falls under that umbrella, is that lots of moving parts, same results.
Yeah.
So I credit the coaching staff.
Yeah.
But I also credit guys who came in later in the season. Christian Humphreys is probably the biggest one because he came in the latest.
Yeah.
But lots of moving parts. Like, we saw Hayden Ellis get a couple goals last week. We see Jack Pridham is just like the offensive powerhouse that he is. But we're seeing Ellenis came back from injury and slotted in and did something different, was playing center, then now he's on the wing.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, my thing is, so the second star for me is no matter where you put the puzzle pieces, you get the puzzle, it works out.
Yeah, it just works. Yeah.
So what's your second star?
My second star is Schaubel, because this is his first time playing a back-to-back in the OHL. Yeah, 5 goals against on 53 shots, like, very solid. Like I said, he looked good third period of the first game, and he started super strong and didn't really have a weak moment against Owen Sound.
It's true.
He's
playing against a first-round pick.
Yeah, no, so I'm not discrediting.
That's what it is, right? That's a Canadian national junior team goalie.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
No, I'm very happy with Schaubel's play. Who's your third star, or what is your third star?
My third star is It's the two defensive leaders, and I think that's Chromiak and Andonovski.
Yeah.
I think those two guys have set the tone. They play the big minutes. They are both very responsible. They both dabble in playing some offense as well when that's not really what they're known for, but they're both very capable. And that has set a precedent where you see Carson Campbell playing really well, Max Diricolo. You see him playing really well. You see some of these younger guys, McNeil. Like, you see these guys who slot in, maybe don't play all the time.
Yep.
Everyone follows the lead of what I think is Chromiak and Andonovski.
I agree. Yep. So that's great.
And Cameron Reid obviously is a defensive leader as well, but he's the first star. He's in a class of his own.
And he's an offensive defenseman, and he's got to
do it all.
He's got other things going on.
And he'll fight.
Yeah, and he'll fight. Don't fight. Speaking of guys who will fight that I don't want to fight, my third star is Elenas.
Yes.
Not crazy on the stat sheet this weekend.
No.
Very defensively sound. He shut down a few plays in both games. He was throwing some hits. I was like, what is Elenas? Like, he literally does everything on the ice.
Anything that he's asked to do.
He does it.
He'll fight. He'll take face-offs. He'll play wing.
Yeah.
He'll back check. He'll be that bumper on the power play. Sure. He'll be a puck carrier on a rush. He'll be a guy who will be waiting for an outlet pass. The dude does it all. His
hockey IQ is off the charts.
I'm really not surprised that he was drafted where he was, and I'm very excited to watch him because he seems like a very malleable player.
Yes.
Which is what I think scouts are looking for.
And if he can make any coach happy, you're way more likely to play.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing is we were talking about this a little bit before the mics go on. Sometimes I'll look back through OHL stats and I'll say, how did this guy not get drafted? How did this guy only get drafted in the 6th round or whatever? And they had monster offensive output because flaws in their game took away from 127 points in their 19-year-old season.
Yeah.
Because he can't be coached.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Or he doesn't back check. He doesn't care.
Yeah.
The numbers are very rudimentary, I think, at the OHL level because scouts are looking for something. And I think they're looking more for an Elenas type player. Look at the Rangers. They're winners. And Misljevic leads the team with like less than 60 points on the year.
100%. Yeah. They just have guys that do it all over
They just have everybody doing everything all the time.
Yep. Man, great week. Great week of hockey. And coming up, only 2 games this week coming up. So we play Windsor at home. We play both games at home. Windsor at home on Friday, and then Guelph at home on Sunday in an afternooner. This Windsor game, this is when we just have to say we are the second team in the West, despite what the standings say. And you guys can suck it.
This is the opportunity to, squish them like a bug.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because they get that perk of just being in a weaker division.
Yeah.
And we just got to remind them.
Yeah, we got to remind them that if second round is Windsor-Kitchener, we'll just beat you once on the road, and then we have home rink advantage.
This is how we remind of what we really are.
It's not like you. Okay.
And then we play Guelph.
Yes.
And we see Guelph so much. So here we are again.
Yeah, we do. And you know what? I like seeing Guelph.
Yeah, nothing makes your stat lines feel better than having 8 games against Guelph.
Guess who we end the season against?
I know. It's
Guelph.
Guelph.
Yeah.
It's like this is our 7th game against Guelph. And we still have another one. And we only have 7 games left.
He's already dead. Stop beating him. No, they are actually, we talked last week, they are in the contention for the last playoff spot.
It's insane to me because they were also in contention to be the worst team in the league.
You know what, though, is I think we've followed an especially weird year where the top teams are it's so top-heavy.
Yeah.
That the bottom teams are just going to be bad.
Yeah.
And 8 out of 10 make the playoffs.
Yeah, it's insane.
That's the one thing I think positive about maybe a small expansion. I'm not really advocating as I started to think about the idea of advocating for lots of American teams and to come into the league. And you're actually starting to maybe negatively affect the opportunities for Canadian players and playing into the playoffs and doing magical things as Cinderella teams and stuff. But maybe 2 more teams.
Yeah, and
8 out of 12 would be better than 8 out of 10, I think, for competition's sake.
Yeah, I agree. I think that just looks better on the sheet too.
Yeah. It's like going back to the Canadian Football League. There's only 9 teams. And
how many teams make the playoffs?
6.
Oh, man, it's so embarrassing if you don't make it.
You're last in the division.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this weekend with Guelph fighting for that spot. All of these teams who are desperately trying to get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
There's always a level of danger that you just have to be aware of.
We just saw what Owen sounds. Realistically, if they weren't a bubble team, and I'm not saying Carter George wouldn't be trying. Yep. I'm just saying that Carter George is playing to be in the playoffs.
Yeah. Yep.
To play more hockey.
Yep, for sure. And then we get to the news around the OHL.
The news around the OHL, which was that the hapless Niagara Ice Dogs, who all but gave up on their season.
We talked about it last week.
Now, to give them a little bit of credit, both of their starting goaltenders are injured. Okay, so they are scraping quite literally into their farm system to try and find goalies who can go. And they found Hayden Jeffrey, Junior B. This is his first ever game. And they threw him to the Wolves, not the Sudbury Wolves, but the London Knights, the figurative Wolves. Yeah. And he came up huge. They won 6-4, so they got the offensive output that they needed. Mm-hmm. But he legitimately put the team on his back, and it was a wonderful moment because it came at home in Niagara, and his family, they all stuck around. I was reading an article, shout out again to the Waterloo Record.
Thank God for the Waterloo Record.
I was reading an article saying that they stayed in the stadium until they were kicked out. They were just all taking it in, and it was just really nice because he was coming up from the GOJHL or the GoJHL. And it seemed almost like a last minute kind of call up, and here you are, you're going to play the team that has 8 regulation losses in the country, literally the best record in all of the CHL right now as far as winning percentage. You're going to play them, and you're going to win because you don't know any better. And he was playing against Medvedev. He just outdueled him.
Amazing.
It was awesome. It was a real, you know what, that's the cool thing is maybe he goes on and it's a Binnington situation where you're a journeyman and then all of a sudden you're a superstar. But maybe you don't, and this is your moment. That's what it's all about, man.
Take it.
That's what it's all about.
That's awesome. Man, good for him. That's so awesome. So great for his family, and a little bit of a David and Goliath story.
Totally. Yes. And of course it was London Knight's favorite trade partner too. If he is a superstar, he'll be wearing Subway Eat Fresh green and yellow next year.
Season.
Yeah. They'll trade for a bag of pucks. So.
And then our NHL moment of the week, I feel, is maybe not quite the right term, but there was a slew of OHL signings this week.
There were.
So, of course, Rangers forward Trent Swick signed his ELC with the Vegas Golden Knights.
Let's give it up for Swick, though. Yes, man, that's so cool.
So happy for you.
So cool. Get that money, man. Get that money.
It's so awesome. Yeah. So super happy for him. And then
take it easy on Edmonton and Calgary, though.
Yeah.
Okay, just take it easy.
I know. It's going to be really hard to cheer against Trent Swick. Like, I'm not going to cheer against him as the person.
No.
But it will feel weird.
I hope he lights us up and they lose.
Hat trick, and then it's a 7-6 game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then Joey Willis and Finn Harding also signed ELCs this week. So just congratulations to all the guys. Like, I'm just happy I'm always happy when I see these kids. Like, this paid. Is the next level to succeed and all that sort of business.
Get paid, and there's no guarantees in life. So if you can take it when you get that contract, and I mean, it just needs you watch this all happen from this level, and you realize how few people achieve superstar status in the NHL and how many people achieve long careers in the NHL, and you have to celebrate all of the wins, no matter how small or big they are, as they come. And so Trent Swick, man,
these are huge moments for you. So
unreal.
So happy for you. And it was so nice, again, on Instagram. Like, every single teammate posted the picture. The coaching staff, they were all posting it. Like, the team posted it.
It's a very positive atmosphere.
It's so good. I'm just so happy for them.
They're good. They're good teammates. They seem like they're a good group of guys.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think they all click. I remember that in one of Sean Fafaro's intermission. I can't remember who he was interviewing. It might have been Cameron Reid, and he was just like, what has been leading to your success this year? I think we just all like each other.
That's huge, man.
I love that.
That's huge. Any team that likes each other, you ever been a part of something and you all gel?
Yeah.
Just works.
Like Andy said on the last episode of The Office, I wish someone would tell you when you're in the good times so you remember them. Is that the quote? What is it?
It was when you're in the good old days.
Yeah, someone would tell you when you're in the good old days.
Yeah.
It feels like what this team is right now. It's like we're in the good old days.
Yes, it feels like that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I hope they all know that, because when you're young and you're having a blast with your buddies, that soon one day you'll probably be changing diapers. You'll still be having a blast, but in a very different way.
That blast is coming at you hard.
That blast is coming at you. Yeah, just listen, put a wipe down.
Yeah.
Okay? Always cover it with a wipe. Yeah. I had the fire hose issue.
Yeah.
But that's now, we're good.
We're okay
now.
with that?
Yeah, the bladder control is there now.
Good.
Yeah.
We've spoken about Instagram a lot this episode.
We have.
Andrew, how do you get to us?
At The Odd Podcast on Twitter, on Instagram, and on TikTok.
Great.
Come at us, whoever you are.
Yeah, and we're also on YouTube.
We are on YouTube.
So
yeah,
if you want to watch the uncut episode of this live in 4K, it's not
beautiful.
Live. It's not live.
It's not live.
But if you want to watch it at 4K,
it was live when it was recorded.
It was live recorded in 4K. But yeah, you can find us on YouTube. Join us there if you want to watch. The videos also go up on Spotify. Those are the cut videos. So,
yes,
I don't know.
The edited.
I don't know why we do separate, but we do.
You can email us. You can reach out to us at theoddpodcast@gmail.com. Send us an email. You can tell us about Groats. You can tell us about The Odd, which I dug up old photos of.
Yeah.
It was really cool, pre-renos. And we'd love to hear from you.
And a few thank yous to throw out. Of course, we got Ken Bourne, Director of Marketing and Branding. And then, of course, we got a shout out to Liam, the
Phenom.
the prodigal producer.
The Phenom.
Phenom. I had brunch with him this week. Producer brunch.
I didn't get invited to that.
No, you didn't. Very exclusive brunch. Yeah, and of course, we got to thank the Kitchener Public Library for hosting us.
Yes, in our favorite space.
In our favorite space.
Not to take away from the other ones, but
this is a good one.
Yep.
And where can you find us, Andrew?
At the Kitchener Memorial Auditorium.